Welcome to Live Breathe Film, episode 64. You're here with Corey, Doug, and Murph. Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to discuss the Oscar nominations and who we would like to see win for each category based on the films we've seen. But before we get to that, let's run through some news and what we watched recently, including Pixar's Turning Red. All right, gang, let's get right into the box office and where we're at with our winter spring box office pool. So I'm currently dominating thanks to the Batman's performance. It's been doing very well as far as holds. It dropped 50% in its second weekend. So it had a $66 million second weekend, and then it dropped 45% during weekend 3, so $37 million third weekend. So it's absolutely killing as far as holds for a movie that opened above 100 million. So right now I'm at 434 million total for my 4 films that have been out so far. I still have Father Stew left to go. As we mentioned previously, I have 5 films in this pool, while Doug and Corey have 6 films each because Batman we counted as 2 rounds. Doug, you are in second, fairly similar numbers to last week with 3 films now: Moonfall, Uncharted, and X. X opened
to about... What do you mean?
I
just had X come out. That should have boosted me significantly.
Yeah, X was your final pick. We knew it wasn't going to have a monster opening or anything. It opened up close to 5 million. Take it as a win that you got that. I mean, Corey got like 4 million total from Sierra now. So in comparison, you're doing pretty well. Most of your money's been from Uncharted. You still got a little bit to go with that one. But you have a big April. You've got Morbius, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Ambulance. So I need Batman to continue to crush it and make close to $400 million. Because, I mean, I could see Sonic 2 making close to 200, and Morbius making over 100, Ambulance making 60, 70 million. So yeah, you got your work cut out for you, but it's definitely still possible that you take this. Corey, you are far behind in third right now with 47 million. Still just 2 movies though, Death on the Nile and Cyrano. Death on the Nile unfortunately underperformed. But Cyrano was your last pick, so it wasn't like the biggest deal in the world. You still have some movies that can make quite a bit of money. You got 4 left. You got The Lost City, Fantastic Beasts, The Bad Guys, and The Northman. So, I mean, Lost City could make potentially close to 100 million. Fantastic Beasts could 150 maybe. If it is better than the last one, maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
Bad Guys, an animated original film, I don't know, maybe 70 million. And The Northman, that'll be
30 or 40.
It's a wild card.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to need all your movies to perform very well for you to take this. But I don't think you're out yet until we see what The Lost City does. I think that's your X factor. And that opens this coming weekend. So it'll be interesting to see where we're at after next weekend. And especially the Batman only has, a few more weeks before going on HBO Max as well.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
So, yeah, something like that, 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll see. Doug, you have any thoughts on where you're at?
My thoughts is we should have taken away more for Batman.
And I'll let you do the draft order for the summer, just so you know there are no cahoots, no shenanigans being afoot.
Yeah, that movie is going bonkers. I'm really hoping that the release to HBO Max slows it down, because I don't really like the pace that it's on right now. It's making you a lot of money, and it's gonna be hard to catch up.
Yeah, you have 2.5 weeks. Doesn't it? Isn't it the? Actually, no. I think 3 weeks. Or, yeah.
I mean, by then the movie will basically not be making too much anymore anyway. Yeah. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's going to be like Spider-Man where it's in the top 5 like forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it probably will be until May, just because there's not like that much coming out before then, but or basically because nothing came out in March. It's definitely helped it, but we shall see. All right, let's get into trailers. We were going to talk some release dates, but we'll skip it because we ended up going with a different feature presentation than we were expecting. The news is kind of old anyway. So let's talk about Ms. Marvel and Obi-Wan Kenobi, our two upcoming Disney Plus shows. Let's talk about Ms. Marvel first, which premieres in June. How you guys feel about this latest MCU venture?
I thought it looked pretty fresh. I mean, it seems like it's going to be more in the line of like a comedy, which seems refreshing based on what we've gotten so far with the Marvel shows, and also a new character. Kamala is like pretty. I think she's going to be received really well. A lot of people really liked her who've read the comics, and I think that people are going to like her in general as a character. So I was impressed from what I saw. It looks fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Kamala based on how she was in the Avengers video game. I thought she was a really strongly developed character in that one, and pretty interesting. So I think she'll be solid as a protagonist for this. Tone reminds me like I mean, Marvel is basically comedies at this point, like MCU things. Like, with the exception, like Moonlight does not look funny, but like the majority of MCU things are basically like comedies.
Yeah.
So, I feel like we're getting more of the same of the comedic approach that they've liked to do, like Hawkeye, the Spider-Man trilogy, more so the first two, and plenty of others. Versus something like Moon Knight, which looks more like the Eternals side of things, which is like their more serious side, which you don't see as often. But yeah, I think it looks fun. It's going to be another fun high school show from the looks of it. I'm assuming she's supposed to be in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing blew me away in the trailer yet. So we'll see. But I know it's going to be something that I watch and most likely enjoy.
Doug, anything?
I mean, I agree with the fact that it looks like a lot of the other Marvel stuff. I think that's like kind of what I didn't like about the trailer is it just looks too familiar. I don't know. I'm kind of getting tired of where they just. It seems like it's too much the same of what we've already seen. I'm starting to get like a little bit of fatigue with that. Like Captain America and Winter Soldier, the Hawkeye show. Like, I don't know, I'm just getting kind of tired of those types of like cute, funny Marvel stuff. But I don't know, maybe they can prove me wrong. It just feels like it just fits into the formula too well, and I'm kind of sick of the formula. So like I'm a lot more excited for like a Moon Knight or something like that just looks super different than what we've been getting previously from Marvel, just because I think I'm getting kind of tired of what they've been doing recently. I don't want to feel like it's the same thing but a different character. Like I want it to be something different, and maybe it is, and that's how it'll play out. But the trailer didn't really do much for me. And then I know I had asked when we were just texting about it a little bit, but like, is her power set different? Because it looked like she was moving stuff and with her powers, and the powers were like purple or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Possible.
Okay. It didn't look like. I mean, I'm not familiar with her in the comics, but like playing that Avengers game, it didn't look like her powers in the Avengers game. It looked different. Although I think there was one part where her hand gets big and she does like the punch thing that she did a lot in the game. So I don't know. I was wondering if it was just because like Mr. Fantastic and her have like a similar power set, but I don't know. I don't know enough about this character to know what the hell is going on.
Same here. All right. If you got nothing more about Ms. Marvel, let's talk about Obi-Wan. Who here is excited based on the trailer? Looks different in tone than Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. Is this the Star Wars you're looking for, or is this not like the type you prefer based on the trailer? Looks very much.
Like,
it looks much more similar to the movies than the than Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, in my opinion.
Yeah. For me, it definitely got me really excited. Probably the most excited I've been for something Star Wars in a very long time. It just felt, like you said, it felt a lot like the movies, but it felt a lot like, which is crazy that I'm saying this, but it felt a lot like the prequels. And like it had that style to it. It seemed like that they were trying to emulate George Lucas, like his style of filmmaking and, editing. Obviously, like the music was stuff that was in his movies.
The Duel of the Fates.
Yeah. And I think that was fitting, especially what the show is about. And it just seems like they're gonna nail those characters again, and hopefully the story is really satisfying. It seems like it's gonna be fun, so it definitely got me super excited.
Yeah, this is the most excited I've been about something Star Wars since like the lead up to The Last Jedi. It's the type of Star Wars like I prefer, like the Skywalker saga type stuff. Tone, look, like the whole aesthetic of it. I mean, you throw on that John Williams Duel of the Fates, and that alone had me pumped. But yeah, this is much more my speed than what we've been getting from Favreau and friends. I'm pumped to see Ewan McGregor back. It's really funny how like at this point there's nostalgia for the Star Wars prequels when they came out, like they were getting ragged on for so much, and they've gotten ragged on so much for the years after it came out. At this point, like it's like people like love it for like the memes that came from it and everything like that. And I mean, the kids that saw these movies and liked them in like the late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s are now like the people like that are in charge of like discussing what's popular. So like they're having a more positive spin on these films than the people that were talking about them in media that grew up on the original films.
Yeah.
And basically fucking hated these films.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been like a positive spin in like pop culture for these movies, and
and not like love. Like everyone knows they're fucking deeply flawed, but it's like people got like warm feelings to an extent about them.
But the one thing that was done very well were Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and for the most part, Hayden Christensen as Anakin. So
I would not go with Hayden Christensen as Anakin.
I like him as Anakin.
Say he was one of the worst parts.
I think he was one.
I would definitely agree about Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked him, but I thought like it wasn't his fault with like a lot of the stuff that was cringy with him.
Yes, I would say I would agree with that. But I mean, who could fucking save that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like George Lucas's love dialogue and stuff like that. So like I think I'm interested to see like a redemption for him, like in this type of thing. But yeah, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one that didn't really do anything for me.
I
don't want to be excited about these things, but I didn't think the trailer looked all that interesting. I mean, it started out with Obi-Wan looking at binoculars at a young Luke, I guess. Just fine on Tatooine. And he leaves the planet at some point, and there's some like bunch of Jedi Hunter Inquisitor folks. Kind of reminded me of the video game. I don't know. I just like don't really care. I mean, hopefully they're holding back on like the big threat, which should be Vader.
I mean, they're definitely holding back on him.
Yeah.
We know he's in it. But they have him breathing in the trailers,
right? And we know the guy Hayden Christensen's back, but like I don't know, there's like that Inquisitor guy that's like spinning the lightsaber, and
yeah,
I don't know. Don't really like care about these.
I have to
other bad
imagine
guys.
we will get our next trailer on May 4th, like the
Mhm.
final trailer, and that'll be when like they show a little bit of Vader, and like more, and maybe that'll be when like it hits you.
It'll be
Yeah, I
interesting
hope
to see
so.
how many flashbacks we get. I read a rumor that Natalie Portman filmed something for this, but so that'll be interesting. Yeah.
She died, didn't she? Or oh, you said
Well, like a
flashbacks.
flashback. Yeah. That there's going to be like flashbacks in the show. So.
George Lucas wrote the dialogue to be accurate.
They brought him back.
They wanted the tone as close as possible.
Your
All
son,
right.
Where's Sam?
Let's get into what we watched then. We've just got one thing to talk about, and that is Turning Red, Pixar's new film. Doug and myself have watched it. Corey has not watched it. Corey's not a big Pixar guy as of late, minus the sequels. But Doug and I have been liking the way they've been going as far as originals since probably around Coco. They've been on a hot streak. So, yeah, what do we think about this one?
I mean, I expect that we're going to disagree on this one. Not disagree strongly, but I thought it was a fine Pixar movie. But this one didn't really like hit for me. Like as far as
you're on the same page, my friend.
Okay, I know a lot of people love this movie, and I wanted to love it. I mean, I saw the trailers, and I thought the trailers looked hilarious. And part of it is probably I came into this movie with high expectations because the trailers I thought were so good. But I don't know, this one just like the story didn't really hit home for me in any way. The music I didn't find to be anything special. Especially like, I don't know, I guess I got excited with the talent that they had involved with the music. I mean, didn't Billie Eilish and Phineas write like the boy band stuff? I mean, I thought that sounded like generic.
Yeah, and Ludwig did the score.
And Ludwig did the score, and just none of that, nothing really stood out to me about this movie. It was fine. I mean, by no means was it a bad movie, but I felt very meh about it, which is a bummer because I really had high expectations for this movie. I really wanted it to be good, but I mean, any day of the week pick Luca over this movie. I thought Luca was just a way better movie overall. I thought the animation style was interesting, but I didn't dig it. They went with
it was very anime, like that anime like influence.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, it's cool that they're going in different directions, but for going in different directions, I thought Luca had a much more visually pleasing animation style.
This one kind of felt like a Sony animated movie, like crossed with a Pixar movie. Like as far as like the visuals being a little different and like the tone being a little zanier, but then it still had like that Pixar like type of like feel to it.
Yeah, like
I don't think it worked like those two directions like together as well as it could have.
Yeah, I mean, it still had like a very like adult theme and like an important message about, you know, growing up and expectations of your parents, and you know, it had like a lot of interesting concepts. It just, I don't know, it didn't gel for me.
Yeah, and like being true to who you are and things like that. It like, definitely like did a lot. Like it had a lot to say. But it like what wasn't good for me is like I looked at the time a lot. like it didn't like grab me as much as almost all their films do. I think it probably would have played better in a movie theater with like less distractions and stuff like that. But yeah, and also like there wasn't much conflict as far as like the girl turned into a panda, and her issue was basically resolved like with like really fucking quickly. Like she was still panda, but she was just like cool with it. And I think they could have like got. I mean, I guess it would have been too similar to other movies if it was just causing wacky hijinks like throughout, like her having to turn back and forth.
Well, it
But that was never like an issue, really.
Did it remind you of another movie where a character changes? Because it kind of reminded me of another movie.
What was that?
Kind of felt like a little bit like Teen Wolf.
I've never seen Teen Wolf.
Okay, so Teen Wolf.
I could see that just based on the trailer
with like Michael J. Fox and stuff. So being a werewolf runs in his family. He hits a certain age and becomes a werewolf. Really embarrassed by the fact that becomes a werewolf, but everyone thinks it's like the coolest thing in the world, and they just want to like. He becomes super popular.
It's exactly like Teen Wolf.
Yeah. He becomes super popular as like his werewolf, and everyone likes the werewolf form more than like who he is when he's not the werewolf.
He plays basketball, and he
plays basketball, and everyone loves him.
Yeah,
he gets all the chicks.
It's basically freaking Teen Wolf.
That is actually really funny.
Interesting.
Because it's the same thing. She's embarrassed about being the big panda. Then everyone's like, "Holy shit, we love the big panda," and that's all they want is the panda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been more interesting if the panda was like embarrassing. Like she was embarrassed of the fact that she was a panda, and like people didn't like the fact that she turned into the panda.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess we have a little bit of issues, or like we would have preferred the movie just went in a different direction. But
I've heard for some people this movie like really hits home, and
yeah, I've heard the same thing. I wouldn't want them to change it because it seems like it really did impact like a lot of people, and
yeah, I guess
not every movie has to be targeted to fucking us. As far as themes and things like that,
30-something-year-old dudes isn't who
it
was
it was directed by like a 30-something-year-old Asian woman, I believe, and because it takes place like in the early 2000s, like when she's in middle school. So like that's like when she was in like middle school and going through puberty and all these things. And it definitely speaks directly to like growing up as like an Asian person with an Asian family and how like those dynamics work and things like that, like things that we can't relate to. But there are still other stuff that we can always relate to being young and things like that, and like dealing with crushes and things like emotions, like going like fucking crazy ass hormones and things like that. That's something universal that we've all dealt with. But yeah, I just don't think we were the main target audience in this one, and that's perfectly fine. There's been so many Pixar movies where it basically is a white male that is the main character, whether it's Albert Brooks is a fish. I mean, it's a fish, but it's a white male. Following that perspective, along with like the Toy Stories and most of their movies from the first 20 years of existence. It seems like really until lately they've started to like switch things up, which is cool. It's cool seeing different perspectives and things. Be boring if they were just repeating the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. No, I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. It just, like I said, the story didn't really do anything for me. But I was surprised. I thought we would disagree on this one because.
Yeah, when I didn't even text you my thoughts, I was like, I wonder if he's gonna like realize like I wasn't huge on it either.
No, I just assumed that you liked it and didn't want to have discourse about it. But
fair.
Till we got on this podcast, but all right. Well,
all right. Well,
two opinions that we didn't like. Yeah. Corey, you should check it out. So you can.
We've got Lightyear in 3 months, which seems exactly targeted towards us.
Yeah, I'm sure we're all gonna love Lightyear. Lightyear looks awesome.
Yeah.
I hope it's really.
I'm
I hope it is
excited
awesome.
to see that one in an IMAX. I mean, I would have been excited to see Turning Red in like a fucking movie theater, just like I would have been excited to see Luca this past summer in a theater. The only way we've been able to see these Pixar movies has been on Disney Plus, or if we traveled into New York City, which I mean, it isn't the most difficult thing in the world, but it's easier to watch from home if we have the option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, if you're looking for an animated movie that's coming out soon that you can watch in theaters, Sonic 2.
Yep, no, that's not an
coming
animated
out
movie.
soon. Check it out.
That's live action, my friend, with a CGI character in it.
It's animated.
But yeah, it's a hybrid. So, and Jim
There's a
Carrey
bunch
might
of
as well
cartoon
be
characters.
Jim Carrey might as well be an animated character.
Mm-hmm. I'll be seeing that, Doug. So don't worry.
So yeah,
tickets on sale now.
In a couple weeks. All right, but we can get into our feature presentation. We're going to be talking about the Oscars. Let's just run through the nominees. Best visual effects. We got Dune, Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi, and No Way Home. Who would you guys like to see?
I mean, I would probably say Dune for me. Free Guy I haven't seen, but like Dune visually, like I feel like that there's like no contest.
Yeah, I would agree on Dune.
I would disagree with both of you.
Oh.
And I think I'd go No Time to Die. And the reason I'd go that way is because I was watching some people talk about like the CGI in No Time to Die and like a lot of the car stuff. Like there was no car. And so like there was a lot of CGI in No Time to Die where it was so flawlessly done.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
That you didn't even know that
like the Aston Martin that he was driving, like that was all CG.
There was a lot of scenes where like that car would be CG, or there's a scene where it like flips and it's CG. When they're in the car and like the glass is getting like the bullet holes, like that was CG. Like it's just like seeing people go over that and how like flawlessly they did that and like the attention to detail.
I didn't know that. That's actually pretty impressive. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like No Time to Die, just for like CGI is cringy sometimes when it like stands out, but No Time to Die is just integrated so well that you don't even notice it.
Yeah, I think a lot of that also has to do with how they do it on top of how much money they spend to actually implement it. You know, if it's implemented in such a way where you don't notice it, like this apparently, that's a win. I think that's complete success.
Yeah, even like down to the detail on like the bullet holes when they're firing it into the Aston Martin, and like each bullet hole appears, like they got like the glass shattering right and realistic, and just a ton of attention to detail. So,
all right. Film editing. We got Don't Look Up, Dune, King Richard, Power of the Dog, and Tick Tick Boom.
I only saw 2 out of these. What, 5?
Yeah.
So far
4 of the 5.
I did like the editing in Don't Look Up, but I didn't think it was like spectacular.
Yeah, I thought it was like too much. Like his like McKay's way of doing it with that film of like edit like cutting to like random people around the world and like glaciers fucking melting and stuff like that.
That's McKay's style, is like the cutaways, and
it didn't really work for me that much in this one. I'd probably go King Richard just because I felt like the movie kind of just like went by seamlessly, like quick, despite the fact that it was a pretty long movie. Not that I noticed anything special about the editing in this one. I think they just did a good job of telling the story.
So it just like flowed really well?
Yeah.
Okay. Doug?
I can support that. I had the same thought when I was thinking about Don't Look Up, that I don't really like that editing style. I think Power of the Dog.
Oh, that movie felt like it was never going to end.
Yeah, it felt like too long. There was probably like scenes that lasted too long and
I got
moments
that
that were
impression
They
from
could
the
have
trailer.
cut. They could have cut at least 5 mentions of Bronco Henry from that film.
So that was my issue with Power of the Dog. Tick Tick Boom. It was kind of just like a musical. I didn't really see anything special. I would probably be between Dune and King Richard for me.
That's what. That's what it was.
I don't know which one I would pick.
This one is actually a really interesting category. It might be the toughest one of the entire night. Costume design, and I'm not even joking. We've got Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story. I mean, you can argue any one of those for costumes, in my opinion.
I definitely would. I mean, Nightmare Alley was fantastic with with costumes, but I thought Cyrano, like, that was one thing that and it makes sense since it was nominated. The costumes were like really, really well done. That set design type of stuff, but they did a really good job with that. So I kind of hope that wins.
Doug?
I guess for like memorable costumes, I probably lean Cruella.
Yeah.
I mean, her costume was memorable, but
I thought a lot of the outfits that they wore were pretty memorable. I mean, yeah, she had a lot of costume changes, but
yeah, I'm giving it the edge just because it's a movie about ultimately fashion. So like it played such a huge like part. Like the fashion was its own like character. So that's why I'd give it to that. But I can argue any of those movies. So it'll be interesting to see who wins. Doug, you're huge on this category. Best cinematography. We've got Dune, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story.
did you guys see Tragedy of Macbeth? Did you?
I did.
I have not.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
It's black
That's
and white.
That's the only one I haven't seen.
The weird aspect ratio.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything that was. I mean, it had some cool moments.
Or do you want to go first?
I'd probably go Power of the Dog.
Okay.
You are big on cinematography.
Yeah, I thought that was like the movie for me. That and like Angry Benedict Cumberbatch were like the two things that made that movie somewhat enjoyable. It was just like, I mean, I thought like a lot of those frames look like a picture that I could hang up on a wall. It's just really, I thought it was a really pretty movie that, unfortunately, the story wasn't as good as it could have been, and I don't know. Kirsten Dunst wasn't a huge fan of.
You'd have to have Kirsten Dunst on your wall.
But like the scenes where like they're out
the landscape shots,
the landscape shots, and even some of the silhouettes and stuff of like Benedict walking around when he wasn't talking about what's his name, Bronco Henry.
Corey, what about you?
I probably would go with Dune. Just I thought that movie was shot in a very unique way. And it just was incredibly pretty. So I think that I would go with that over anything else. Maybe Nightmare Alley was nominated as well, right, for cinematography. So I would probably do a toss up.
Oh yeah, Nightmare Alley,
because that movie was shot incredibly well too. I really like that. So I would be okay with either one. Power of the Dog I haven't seen, like you said, so can't really say. But I definitely don't want to see it now after the glowing reviews.
That's a tough category because I could give it to any one of all three of those movies were really great. Yeah,
and I actually would go with West Side Story. So we were all on different pages with this one. Similar to what you said about Power of the Dog. I just thought there was just a lot of nice shots. that you can hang up in like as a picture, frame it on your wall or something. So yeah, I would go with that one.
Wow.
And I could hold Dune for for part 2 potentially for the cinematography.
That's kind of like a really competitive category.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a few of these. Then we got makeup and hairstyling. We've got Coming to America, Cruella, Dune. Yeah, I know. Coming to America, Oscar nominated.
That's wild.
Not the original Coming to America, Coming to with the number America. Cruella, Dune, Eyes of Tammy Faye, and House of Gucci. And for me, I think I would go with Cruella again.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you on that. It would be probably that or House of Gucci for me. That movie I ended up liking in a lot more ways than I was expecting, but I thought the hair and makeup was definitely really good. Cruella, I mean, I think it's like a shoo-in for that category.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Team Cruella. I haven't seen The Eyes of Tammy Faye, so I
haven't
can't
either.
judge that one.
That's the only one I haven't seen either.
Why Coming to America though? I mean, like, I
Just
don't
all the
really
Eddie Murphy
just all the
costumes.
Eddie Murphy, Arsenio
okay.
Hall costumes and stuff like that. All the makeup on them.
Mm-hmm.
So which one did you say for this one, Doug?
I went Team Cruella.
So we're 3 for 3. Cruella was our first sweep.
No, I thought Corey picked something
Or did
else.
Corey pick something else?
Corey probably thought picked House of Gucci, you know?
No, for this
Oh yeah, you were Cruella. You said
Cruella.
you would House of Gucci would be okay. Yep, sweet.
Now
So
costume
that's the
costume I
sweep.
picked Cyrano.
Yeah, no, I mean for this category, we all like
for this category.
we all picked the same one. All right. Then production design, we've got Dune, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Tragedy Macbeth, and West Side Story. I would go with West Side Story for this one. Sorry, it just goes hand in hand with me for the cinematography.
I would definitely go Nightmare Alley. West Side Story I still haven't watched, so Nightmare Alley definitely. The set design is incredible, so I think like that would be my pick.
Yeah, I was thinking Nightmare Alley too. I really like the carnival and like and he goes into that. Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean you guys are make a compelling argument. I could potentially switch mine. It did have very good sets and everything.
Kate's West Side Story with E. Murph. Yeah, I don't know if you want to switch.
Kate makes a good point. I mean, look at what they did to Paterson, New Jersey.
Yeah. Best sound, Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. For me, I'm going No Time to Die.
This is best sound. That's what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it based on like the bullets and everything, like how it just sounded so damn good.
Yeah, I think I would go with No Time to Die as well. Like that was a crazy experience seeing that in theaters, just from a sound perspective. Dune like was cool, but I don't think it really it didn't stand out as much with sound comparatively.
I think we're gonna go Dune.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it did stand out. I think it had I thought the sound was good for a sci-fi movie. I'm thinking about like the copters that were flying around and like the sound that they would make and the sound that different devices made in that movie. I thought it was the sound. For something that I didn't like love the music, I thought the sound actually provided a lot to the atmosphere and kind of made it feel like like a place. Like,
Okay.
It was kind of like otherworldly.
Well, speaking of scores, best original score, we've got Don't Look Up, Dune, Encanto, Parallel Mothers, and The Power of the Dog. Doug, you on with your favorite movie, Encanto?
I was thinking about it.
Of course you were.
Yeah, I'd probably go Encanto.
Um,
Score's magical in Encanto.
I will actually go with Power of the Dog. I thought it was the better of the Johnny Greenwood scores this year, and it was one thing where while watching it, I noted in my head, I was like, a solid score.
I probably would go with Encanto if I saw it. I just haven't watched it yet. But I'm gonna go with
Corey. Don't even talk about this category.
I would say Dune as a default.
Fair enough. Best original song. We've got "Be Alive" from King Richard. Doug, what is the name of this song from Encanto?
Those or where is it? I need to see it. I know it's those. It's two butterflies, but in Spanish. Or Lolitos or
Orogritas?
Let's stop butchering this word.
I need to see it. I'm still trying to find. There. No, that's Score.
It's right next to Score.
Maybe on your list.
No, I sent it in the Zencaster.
Those or yeah, I didn't help.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got a song from Encanto. That's not the Bruno song, which is weird.
It's not like any of the big songs. It's the slower.
Of course,
song.
The Academy can't do anything fucking right. Down to Joy from Belfast, No Time to Die from No Time to Die, and Somehow You Do from 4 Good Days. So we've got Beyonce, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Van Morrison, Billie Eilish, and Diane Warren.
I'm definitely going No Time to Die.
Yeah, so am I.
That's where I would go too.
Yeah.
Ooh, our second consensus.
I mean, maybe if it was we don't talk about Bruno or one of the other ones, Encanto, could maybe pull me, but yeah, No Time to Die. That was a good song by Billie Eilish.
Yeah, a song that was released over 2 years ago. Now up for the Oscar this Sunday. It was really cool hearing her play it live when we saw her last month.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool that you played it live.
Yeah. And
I
then we
really
had
dug
the
it,
opening credits in the background.
Hearing it to start No Time to Die, I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we'll skip the shorts and the documentaries just because we're not going to have much to contribute or international.
No, the best documentary of the year didn't even get nominated.
Which one's that?
That's the one about the kids, the rescue.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, that didn't get nominated? Wow.
No, that to me was an amazing documentary. How they rescued those 13 kids in Thailand or wherever they were.
This category is actually pretty tough.
The snub.
That's the snub of the year.
Snub of the year.
Best animated feature: Encanto, Flea, Luca, Mitchell's versus the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. Pretty good category.
I will not be contributing for this category because I haven't seen any of the films.
Fair enough. And I'm pretty sure Doug and I are going to split it based on our top 10 for 2021. I'm going with the Mitchells versus the Machines. I thought it was the most original one.
Yeah, and I'm going Encanto. Yeah, Mitchell vs. Machines is a really, really great animated film. It does a lot of things really well. It is definitely the most original, but Encanto is just so damn lovely.
Encanto didn't do anything for me.
You gotta watch it again.
Disney animated movies really don't do much for me.
They don't usually do much for me either, but yeah, Encanto is just
Yeah.
I like.
No, it's
Yeah, I thought it was like,
I'm glad you
it's
like
a cute
it.
movie, and then I watched it again, and I was like, oh yeah, I love this movie.
That's
The
good.
songs all like kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, and like for me, Luca would be my runner-up. The fact that Luca's like not winning it for me is wild because it was like so high for me for the year. Just goes to show how good animated was this year.
Yeah, Luca
All
was
right.
really good. They're all really good. I mean,
Yeah. Best adapted screenplay. We got Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. Corey, you want to go first?
I'd probably say Dune. Just because so far, it seems like he's doing a very impressive job adapting that book, and that book is very weird. So I think the way that he has it structured, it seems like it's going to be very good once it's complete. It was good like as just one half so far, but I think like once it's actually complete, it's going to be really good.
can I counter on the Dune?
Counter.
I don't know which I would pick for
why.
adapted Dune screenplay, but the way that Dune just kind of abruptly ended made me like very anti-picking Dune for this category because it felt like that was completely botched.
I think they needed to call the movie from the start Dune Part 1. And that would have made it less like of an issue for me.
It also though, like it felt like there could have been a better place in that movie.
There really isn't. There really isn't. That was probably the smartest thing they could have done, I think.
Maybe doing it after Jason Momoa's big like hero moment. That would have been a more Fellowship of the Ring type ending. Like Boromir dying.
And like write it in a way that we don't wonder where Josh Brolin went.
That too.
For the second half of the movie. I thought Dune did a lot of things really well, but I thought there were some misses in the screenplay. But
all right, then what screenplay would you go with?
This is the problem. I don't know. I haven't seen Drive My Car. Power of the Dog, like definitely not. Coda, I don't know what I would pick.
Yeah, this is tough. I think I'm just gonna give it to Coda.
I have to believe that there was better options than what they.
There were better. Of course, there were better options.
There were.
Yeah, I don't understand why Power of the Dog is on here. I said my issues with Dune, but I could see why Dune's on here. I guess Coda, I don't get either.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give it just because I don't know. I don't know why. It was probably kind of tough to I don't know come up with dialogue for certain scenes. Like maybe I don't know.
For Coda.
I don't know why. I like the relationship between the girl and her teacher. So like they had good scenes. Like I like the dialogue in those scenes. So that's why it gets it for me.
Okay.
So Doug, you give it to what? Power of the Dog?
Or no, Coda? It's anti-Power of the Dog. I think it's Coda by default.
Okay, yeah. So we're the same there. Best original screenplay: Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Worst Person in the World.
I don't know.
I'm between two movies right now.
I know Licorice Pizza is definitely one of yours.
Yeah, I'm between Licorice Pizza and King Richard. I think I'd actually give it to King Richard. I know it's very by the numbers, but
That's why I don't want to give it to
but
King
it did
Richard.
it did it well. And Licorice Pizza, you can make the argument that like it just goes in a ton of random directions and is more like vignettes than like a full story. Plus, I can give awards to PTA elsewhere, and as we continue to go. So yeah, I think I'll go King Richard.
I think I'm gonna go Licorice Pizza. Because, yeah.
Doug?
I guess Don't Look Up, but only because it was like original is what I'm hanging on to.
Fair enough.
Not necessarily the best, but like,
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
I don't know.
I can see that, I guess.
That screenplay didn't like blow me away, but it was an original
okay.
idea.
All right. Let's get to the actors. Best Supporting Actress, Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Judi Dench for Belfast, Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog, and Anwane Ellis for King Richard.
I haven't seen any of these movies yet, so
I think I definitely said that wrong. This category is incredibly tough for me because I didn't think any of them were like that great. I'll go with King. I'll go with King Richard for the scene where she bitches out Richard Williams.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I wasn't giving it to Kirsten Dunst, that's for sure, and I haven't seen West Side Story or
I haven't seen Belfast. I haven't seen Belfast or Lost Daughter. I feel like I know what I'm
getting with Judi Dench.
I probably would like Jessie Buckley's performance a lot because I like her in stuff I've seen. So she'd probably be my pick if I actually saw The Lost Daughter, but I didn't. Yeah. So, and yeah, you kind of know what you're getting with Judi Dench at this point.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have to see the movie to know what her performance was, but.
So you're going with which one?
King Richard.
King Richard. Corey, who did you have?
I haven't seen
any of the movies.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to Best Supporting Actor. Syrian Hines for Belfast, Troy Kotzer for Coda, Jesse Plemons for The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog. Goofy ass category.
Again, haven't seen any of the movies, so.
I think I'll give it to Troy Kotzer because he had like one scene that got me kind of emotional. Even though I thought for the most part he overacted the hell out of the movie in like a negative way. But I can't give it to the people that I've seen. Like I can't. Jesse Plemons did nothing in the movie. I do not know how he was nominated. And
I don't know how he was either.
Cody Smith-McPhee was
Jesse
like
Plemons.
Just a little weirdo. So yeah, Coda.
I think I'd give it to Cody Smith-McPhee just for being like doing a weirdo so well.
That's fair.
Doing a what real well?
Like a weirdo. He was just like this weird.
Okay. He was a little weirdo.
I mean, I don't know if that's how I think I've seen him. He was in X-Men or something, right?
Yeah, Planet of the Apes and some other shit.
Yeah, and I never recall seeing the actor and being like, "Oh, he's a weirdo." So I guess he did.
Yeah, you look at him. Look at him. He's kind of a weirdo.
He looks weird, but like his performance was like very like he was a weird dude.
Fair. All right, Best Actress. I can't even do it. We got Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer.
Yeah, I can't really either.
Corey hasn't seen like one acting nominee yet.
The only thing I could say is what I've seen of Kristen Stewart, looked pretty awesome. If I can
From the trailers, Kristen Stewart looked really good.
I've heard
Doug, how
Jessica
many-
Chastain does really good job
Doug,
in
have
the
you
eyes of
seen any of
Frank.
these?
No,
I'm glad I'm not the
Did
only
you,
one.
You didn't see Being the Ricardos?
and I won't be seeing Being the Ricardos.
Okay, so yeah,
heard-
none of us can vote on Best Actress.
I heard it wasn't good.
I mean, I feel like with like Judi Dench, I can imagine that Olivia Colman did a good job, and it was probably good.
Yeah,
I
I
can
mean, Olivia
imagine that
Colman's like
Nicole
good in
Kidman.
everything. So
Yeah, I can imagine that Nicole Kidman was fine.
all right, well, let's move on to this category where we actually have, well, I haven't seen many of them, but Best Actor, we've got Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. Corey, have you seen any of them?
No.
No. I'll go Will Smith.
Tragedy of Macbeth, I want to see. Just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. Will Smith gets it for King Richard for me. Like, it was one where I watched it. I'm like, okay, like, this guy's probably going to win my, like, Best Actor. I thought he crushed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd go Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom. I thought he was good. And he was kind of like a tour de force in that movie because he was like singing and dancing and yeah, I thought he did a good job. He does like, yeah, he was a very different version than you typically see of himself, and I liked him a lot in Tick, Tick, Boom for a movie that didn't really do much for me. I think he was the standout, and he's got he had his return to Spider-Man. I feel like this is Andrew Garfield's year to
Fair enough.
to win. Yeah, I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch I also thought was good as like angry bully loves Bronco whatever Henry
Bronco Henry.
guy. I thought he was good.
No, Cumberbatch was good.
And I thought his southern accent was pretty good too, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just thought they took his like gay character way over the top in like the second half of the movie. Spoiler alerts. Like
spoilers, the guy that talks about
like
Henry is gay.
Yeah, like I just thought like they just went super over the top in like a goofy way that I think like I couldn't give this movie an award. But
and Denzel I thought was like Denzel in Tragedy of Macbeth. That's why like his nomination kind of surprises me, is because it felt like every other Denzel Washington performance.
Yeah.
But like the Academy likes that, so
yeah. All right, Best Director, Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Ryu Suki Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg for West Side Story.
I would probably go with PTA for Licorice Pizza.
Yeah, I'm going with Paul Thomas Anderson also. He brought the best out of everyone for this film.
I'm going to abstain from this one because I haven't seen enough of these. I've only seen Power of the Dog out of this list.
So you won't vote for Jane Campion based on only seeing that one movie?
I mean, that doesn't really feel like a real vote. I need at least one other movie.
That's true.
One other director to choose from.
Are you going to watch West Side Story or Licorice Pizza before Sunday?
I'm going to watch possibly West Side Story. I keep meaning to watch West Side Story, and I just like...
Why won't you watch Corey and my number one movie of 2021? Do you not trust your judgment?
Licorice Pizza?
Yeah.
I feel like I know what I'm getting. It's another PTA
No, you
movie.
don't know. You don't know what you're getting.
It's another
there was-
PTA movie with this cradle robber girl going after this like young kid.
Yes, you just summed up the movie very well.
Kate was so offended by that. She's a predator. See? There you go. Don't watch it. She's a predator.
She's not the one pursuing.
Yeah, that was my argument, but it didn't go over well.
All right, fair enough. You should watch it though, because it's really fucking good. And it's not like you'd have to pay for it. But Best Picture: Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story.
I'm gonna go Licorice Pizza.
I mean, Murph, you telegraphed where you were going to go already.
Did I?
You said Corey and I's best picture,
Or yeah, like our favorite movies of 2021.
yeah. And
Well,
but now you're going to pick something else.
I think I might pick something else. Just because, as we've talked about, favorites do not mean best. When we talked about Spider-Man No Way Home previously. I think I might go a little crazy and go off the beaten path here and go with Nightmare Alley for Best Picture. I think from top to bottom, I can't find any faults in the movie.
It is a great flick.
So I think I'll go
Yeah, I'm Team Nightmare Alley.
Oh, you too. Interesting. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I
Probably
didn't see
should
that
have.
coming either.
Yeah, I think I said after I watched it, it would probably be my best picture.
It was high on your list.
Yeah.
Nightmare Alley wasn't good either.
There were a lot of good Best Pictures. This list isn't that bad. Like Nightmare Alley's awesome. Licorice Pizza's awesome. King Richard's awesome. Dune's awesome. Don't Look Up's fun, even if it shouldn't be nominated for Best Picture. West Side Story, it's very well made. I still have to see Belfast and Drive My Car.
Yeah, those are
the only one I
probably-
don't really agree, really strongly don't agree with their nominations, or because I really didn't like one film was Power of the Dog, and then Coda I just don't think should have been nominated. In a similar to Don't Look Up, but
I can see why Power of the Dog is there at least because it was like artsy kind of feeling. It feels like
artsy.
I don't really get
bullshit.
Coda. I don't get Coda at all. Not really sure.
I get why Coda is nominated only because there's 10 nominations. If there weren't, it wouldn't be nominated. Which is the case for a bunch of these movies. But even if it went back to the rules that it was last year, where it was 5 to 10 movies, I don't know if it would have gotten nominated. Yeah. I don't know. Those are my thoughts on the 10 movies.
Yeah, there's a couple movies that I will need to watch before the Oscars. Belfast and Drive My Car were two that I was gonna watch before the end of the weekend.
Yeah, I think I'll watch West Side Story again before the end of the weekend.
I need to watch that.
And I already ordered my Licorice Pizza Blu-ray, so when that comes, I'll watch that. But that's all we've got for today. Thank you again for listening. We'll come up with a topic for our next episode and let you guys know what it is once we have it. But as always, this has been Corey, Doug, and Murph at Live Breathe Film. We'll see you again next time, movie lovers.
Bye.